From boardroom meetings to bedtime stories, Coffee in the Barn explores the delicate dance of balancing the demands of our professional lives with the joys and responsibilities of being moms. Join us each week as we discuss the latest trends in agribusiness, share insightful interviews with industry experts, and sprinkle in some heartfelt anecdotes about the humorous and heartwarming moments that come with being a working mom in agriculture. Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee in the Barn with Morgan and Casey. This week, we're going to be discussing goal setting, what our word of the year is, and yep, that's it.
Yeah, Morgan. Well, welcome. I'm going to make this a weekly habit. What coffee cup am I toting today? And I had to get this because it was a gift from my friend Glenetta. It says, getting piggy with it. So we're getting piggy with it. Woo woo.
You must have a very extensive coffee cabinet because I only have my black Yeti and a gray coffee mug.
Funny that you say that. So from a travel mug perspective, I have just exhausted my 3 top favorites, okay? But from a coffee mug segment, just like general coffee mugs, I used to, when I traveled before I had Arthur, I would buy my husband a coffee mug from places I went. So, like, I went to Florida for, like, a conference, and so I brought him a Disney cup. And then I went to London, and I got him a London cup in Madrid. So, yeah, I've had to sort through my coffee mugs, but that was a thing I used to do with my husband.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I do have coffee mugs from around the world and different fun places I have been.
I'm boring. I just drink my coffee and then that's it.
Well, I thought coffee mugs were more inspirational than shot glasses. Because I don't know when the last time the shot glasses have come out of the cabinet. I think they're buried and it's starting to fossilize.
That's interesting because I feel like when I go travel places, that's what I buy as a shot glass. More just for like the aesthetic of just having it sitting on the counter or on the
That is so like 80s
cart.
of you, because isn't that what our parents did? And I remember
my parents still do that.
Yeah, and I guess some people have magnets and some people have different trinkets, but that was something I knew my husband would use, right? Because to be quite honest with you, I was never a coffee drinker until I married him and lived with him more, and I blame him for getting me started on the habit. I still love a good cup of tea, so, but in my world today and being a mom, it is the coffee. And to me, there's multiple benefits, health benefits beyond the caffeine.
Yeah, I want to say that was a conflict of interest, my coffee drinking. I don't drink that much. I just have maybe like 2 cups a day, but, you know, the cups are generous. And when I was pregnant with Emma, my husband was like, "You're drinking way too much coffee. What if when you have her, like after you have her and you're breastfeeding, if it's going to like affect her sleep?" And right now it's not bothering anything. I said, if the time comes where my caffeine and coffee intake is impeding her sleep or affecting her in any negative way, we'll deal with it when we get there. He was all about, well, you should start tapering off how much coffee you're drinking like 4 weeks before you deliver. So, and I was like, well, in hindsight, she was 2 weeks overdue. So, and I did not start rationing my coffee. Everyone was fine. I didn't have to stop drinking coffee.
See, stop drinking coffee is easy for me. I can do that, but what I have found that I like, and so I need to get an assortment of teas, I think, in my office, is I like something hot. I don't know what it is about that hot, from my throat to just having, especially in winter, having something hot.
Yeah, and then it's like sitting in front of a warm fire. It's comforting.
So to me, it's that comfort piece and not the fact that I'm drinking caffeine, because I know I can live without the caffeine component.
Yeah, I just like caffeine. But yes, I can relate. So that leads us into how we're structuring. Did you just start the timer?
No, I just ended the timer, so it leads into...
Okay. we're all learning. I know Casey's been podcasting for a couple years here and there. I'm very new at this. We've learned that we really get off on tangents and stories. So we're going to try to keep things a little bit more streamlined and structured. And so we've implemented starting a timer so that we know where we're at throughout our podcasting journey with you all today. Moving forward, our structure is going to look a little different. The first 5 minutes of the podcast is going to be just kind of mom talk and what's going on in our lives at the current moment. And then we'll go into structure of
The topic.
and we'll talk
Yeah.
what we're talking about today.
Mhm.
And today we're talking about goal setting and our intentions for the year and our word of the year. And then the end, we're going to leave you guys with an action item.
Yeah, and I was going to say the word of the year was the action item of last week's episode. So we really want you to, and we're going to try to do it in social media. We're getting better at that as well, getting our channels aligned. But we really want to hear what your word of the day is. And
Word of the year. Word of the year.
Sorry. Yes. Let's drink some more coffee. But yes, we really want to know what that is. We'd love even short videos. Tagging hashtag coffee in the barn would be awesome. And so we could start growing this following and hearing from you that you're getting value out of this, because as I said, my goal and my mission in life is to take you from surviving to thriving. And so I really have had some great feedback just over one episode. And this is our third episode, so I'm really excited that my mission is starting to come to fruition. Morgan, what's the word of the year?
Well, I've kind of been tossing back and forth between the two, but the definition of them both kind of align. And my word of the year is purposeful. I came to that because I want to make sure that every extra thing I'm doing outside of my family life and work has a purpose, and aligns with the priorities I have set. And that every outside interaction I have with friends and family and colleagues is intentional. I want to make sure that I'm living in that moment and purposely being present with those individuals that I'm with. And yeah, that's my word of the year.
Well, since it was a curveball for me, and I was reading that book, and the two words that stuck out to me that I mentioned last week, not yesterday. Gosh, I need to drink more coffee. But was invincible and transcend. And I really thought through this, right? And everything I have, and I'll go into my goal here in a minute. But I think transcend is what I need to use, because invincible, well, God's invincible. I'm not invincible, right? Can be invincible through God's armor. But I think it's really transcend. I've worked through my personal mission, and now I need to transcend into that person living that mission. So creativity, helping people go from surviving to thriving. And so that is what I'm going to use in everything I do, is transcend that boundary. Can I push it to the next level? Can I be fully, like you said, purposeful? Can I fully be engaged in what I'm doing and happy and all of that, right? And living that mission, being grateful for it, and not seeing like, oh, I have another goal, I want to lose 20 pounds, and I have a plan to get there, hopefully, but um, we'll get into SMART goals, but I think Transcend fits it more into what I need to do, because all my goals I have is really hopefully transcending me into that person living the mission and having the strength and the health and the abilities to achieve my goals this year. Because I have some lofty business goals, and um, compared to Morgan, my personal goal of running a 5K is nothing compared to a 50K. So I think she said that should
everyone
be easy.
can do it.
Everybody can do it.
Everyone can do it. You just have to break it up into tiny steps.
Exactly. I walk to the fridge and back. So
Then you have to go to the front door, then the mailbox,
Yeah.
then the stop sign. Just a starting point. Not where you've been, it's where you're going.
It was too bad. You guys missed it. She's on mute when she first reacted. Oh, well.
I had to just catch my breath there a minute.
Yeah. No. Now that's a tangent. I got a timer, by the way, for 20 minutes of the meat of the podcast. So,
Okay.
all right. That's the words of the year. Now we're getting into
Our SMART goals. SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relatable, or relevant, and time bound. So we're going to break down one of our goals that we have, see how those 5 attributes fit into our goal. Casey, you want to take it?
Yeah, so, and here's also, I need to mention to all of you, because relevant is one of the big components of this, your goals are allowed to change depending on what is relevant for you at that time. So I did in December come up with some goals, and I noticed really these were habits or pieces of a bigger goal for me, a bigger purpose. And I just want you to make sure you get into that, and we'll talk more about it through this series of this month of around goals in the different segments of making it achievable and relevant. So you have to check in on your goals frequently, okay? And my coach recommends once a week to check in to see if they're still relevant and we're achieving where we're going, or do they need to be tweaked of those smaller components of those goals. But the bigger goal is to maintain a positive and healthy mindset for me. My mental health, as I mentioned, I've always struggled with, and it impacted my business last year. So that is kind of the main overarching goal. Specific, I have to stay healthy mentally to be functioning and successful in my family life. They need that from me, and then my business life. So my customers need that from me. And if we look at my mission, I want to take people from surviving to thriving. So that is inventing new innovations in the animal nutrition and health space, or other areas that help in production and, be able to produce more food with less. But also in my creation where I'm inspiring people to help. So that's specific, right? How am I going to measure that? I'm going to start with a check-in journal, and it's just, sad face, neutral face, smiley face, and then maybe some short reasons why I feel that way today, right? Or something that happened. So versus writing a full page in my journal, I think I can actually do that on a daily basis. Achievable. Well, yeah, it's going to be achievable because I was looking through some of my goals and some of the habits I've already started to implement, and it's just building on that. So I really do feel like that's an achievable goal if I keep it at the forefront of my mind all the time. Um, Relevant, as I just mentioned, that I'm going through my list, but I already mentioned that my family and my business needs me. And time bound, 2024.
There you go.
So that was me breaking down my SMART goal. And you, Morgan?
So with my current job, I travel, I would say probably 30 or 40%, depending on the time of year. I would say when the kids are less than 2 years old, they're not, as long as they're with somebody that they're comfortable with. I mean, they still want mom, but they're not as emotional, I would say. At least my kids haven't been, like when I leave and come back. And now that Emma's 3, she's a lot more cognizant of when I'm gone. Sometimes there is the time where I leave, and I think I left one morning before she had gotten up, maybe 5 minutes before she had gotten up, and I was, I don't know, a mile down the road. And Garrett called me and was like, Emma wants you to say goodbye. So, of course, I had to turn around, come back home. She was standing at the stairs, just wanting a hug and a kiss, and that's all she wanted. She just wanted me to say goodbye to her. And so of course I did that. And it's finding little moments like that, and especially when I come home from traveling, I love just hearing the footsteps of them running down the stairs or the hallway yelling, "Mom!" because they're so excited to see me. But kind of with that, when I am home, I want to make sure that the time I'm spending with them is very intentional. So that's my specific goal is or that I'm intentional with the time I'm spending with my family. And I'm going to measure that by I try to do this, but when I grew up, little side note, growing up, my mom loved to plan forced family fun days, and she still does that. So I'm trying to implement that once a month. I'm going to try to plan just a forced family fun day with us to do something. It doesn't have to be big, could just be watching a movie or whatnot, but just intentional forced family fun. And then specifically with my daughter, since my son usually goes to bed before her or sleeps in later, I'm have a goal of 20 to 30 minutes a couple days a week, just her and I time. Or she gets to go run errands with me or just one-on-one time with her. And one of the best ways that I've learned to implement that is when I tuck her in at night, I say, when you wake me up in the morning, say, "Mom, let's play."
And I love that because that gets you both in the mindset that, yeah, I have to be intentional with this time.
Yes. So every morning now she wakes up and she says, "Mom, let's play." And that kind of just brings a smile to my face and helps me kind of wake up in a good mood. And I'm not very good at taking pictures, as every mom is. You're the one that's always behind the camera. During those one-on-one times or forced family fun events, I'm going to be more intentional about taking pictures of all of us doing whatever we're doing so that I can look back and see like what we've done throughout the year because I think we get caught up in the day to day and some moms just don't make it a habit to take the picture. So I'm going to try and take the picture.
And some moms make a habit of taking lots of pictures.
Yes, another side note. Most of the people in town when we're out and about say, "Oh, I saw your daughter on this. I saw your daughter doing this." And I was like, "Yep, probably from my mother-in-law's Facebook page because my mother-in-law is very good at taking lots of pictures." And so that's how everyone keeps updated on our family is because of my mother-in-law. But that's another topic for another time. Um, but yeah, so that's my goal for 2024, and I will be able to look back every month and every week and see how I'm achieving those things by the pictures that I've taken and the things I have on my calendar.
Yes, and if you didn't listen to the last episode, she has 3 calendars posted with everything
They all
on
say
it.
the same thing though.
Now,
So
I know. I have tons of calendars in my digital space. But I think that's good. I want to bring this back to agribusiness a little bit. And most of us, and most of my friends, depending on when the fiscal year is, and the majority of companies, it's January, they have set their goals in December. Usually, they start working on budgets. I've heard a lot of companies even now finalizing budgets here in February now. So, a company I'm working with, which I found interesting because I had to come up with my budget and my goals in November last year, right, for research and stuff when I was with companies. And I think we can get in maybe in a later year of reevaluating that from a business perspective of really thinking about that. But, from a business standpoint, I think one of the biggest pieces I've learned in working in corporate America now is the value of looking into where you were and where you started, like your photos. That is going to show you like I didn't spend enough time. Well, no, that's a
yep,
lie. I have all these photos that said that we did, right? That I lived
yep,
intentional. And you can go back to say, well, I had 30 photos in January, but I only had 10 in February. That should make you click and reflect, am I spending enough time or did I just fall out of the habit of not taking the photos?
yeah. And I think going back to the ag business space, a lot of people that are within our industry January through March is an extremely busy time of year with all the different trade shows going on. Just being mindful of, yes, I know I'm going to be gone for
More
multiple
than,
weeks and
yeah.
more than normal. I'm going to be gone for 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Okay, what do I need to do while I'm home during that time to make it work, make sure that I'm home?
And I was just thinking, career-wise, agribusiness, either you lead a company or you work in a company. Do you understand your goals for the year? Do you know where you fit into those goals? Obviously, we talked about personal goals. I have business goals and I have personal goals. And for me, my business goals is personal almost because it is my company.
Mm-hmm.
But we all need to earn a paycheck. I really loved my bonuses because we all hit our sales targets and things. Those were like nice gifts at the first part of the year from helping buy a vacation or paying something off faster. But where do you fit in your company's goals? In every company's different. You can have some personal goals, you can have corporate goals. But you could say, well, I'm just working in customer service, or I just work on research. Sales doesn't matter to me. And I would say that is incorrect. We all are components of that. And so I look at it in my company's success. If it's revenue is one of the goals that my company has, what am I doing to positively promote my company? Positively promote myself, which then positively promotes my company, right? On social media. So, is your social media aligned with your personal goals and your company's goals? Because if we're on there complaining about we hate work or we don't like this or we're not happy, and I'm using that on social media or just in networking, that sets that mindset up that my company's not going to achieve the goals. Like it's that, and we're going to get into this in my mind later.
Yep.
But I just ask you to reflect on that. If margin is part of your revenue goals as a company, look at your expenses, right? Could I have saved $10 on a hotel room
Mm-hmm.
or a flight or something? And like you said, be intentional. I think that goes into what we'll get into later on in the series, but I just wanted to point out that understand where you fit into your company's goals and your personal goals and make sure that they don't conflict.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point on the business side of things, but also finding somebody that can help hold you accountable. So like for you, you have a business coach that can help you on the business side of things. Um, we're both married. On the personal front, we can ask our husbands to be our accountability partners or
Mhm.
our best friends. I think it's also important though that to see where you fit in within your company, ask your manager. Ask somebody for a yearly review or a quarterly review. I think it's really important to write down your goals so that you can see them, whether that's on a sticky note on your computer or a Word document that you reference every now and then. But having your goals written down and talking with your manager or upper management to see where you fit in that success for that company.
Yeah, and if your company doesn't formally give you personal goals to help you with your career or your position, find a colleague, find a mentor in your company to be that accountability partner and set some achievable goals to talk. And, I think Morgan, um, some of the things I asked for her as her mentor, and she wanted to work on technical speaking this year, is obviously we have this podcast. But I said, can you plan to maybe present at an international conference so you could have that different exposure? And so I think you're getting the opportunity, hopefully, to do that in Canada this year. But
Possibly, yep.
yeah, so I asked her to put that into her plan with her supervisor to say, hey, this is what I'm working on with my mentor, and make that a possibility because that's just going to push you further, right? In that goal that you have of becoming a better technical presenter, for instance.
I think individuals that are trying to better themselves, when you ask somebody for help to do that, everyone is more than willing to help. Personally, I've had probably 5 or 6 people within my company that I've said, this is something I'm working on, this is something I want to try and do. And there's been nothing but positive feedback and opportunities. Like, for example, my technical presentation skills. I have had many people helping me refine those skills. And next week I'll be at a meeting and we'll see how those go as I put those action items into implementation. Kind of how we talked about last week, surrounding yourself with individuals to help you achieve your goals. And I think it's important to also make a point that your goals can change. Your goals don't have to be set in stone. For example, before I had kids, I could go out and go for a 4-hour run. Today, if I had a long run with 2 kids, I would have to stop midway, breastfeed my son. My
Change
daughter
some diapers.
change some diapers, whatever. Oh, I'm getting off topic.
But yeah, I know. And I was just warning you, that beep was my alarm to say, okay, the meat of our presentation.
Oh, are we done already?
Well, that was the meat of it, right? 20
that
minutes
was 20
for
minutes?
the meat
Oh,
of
holy
the
cow.
episode.
Okay, let me just end with your goals can change. And I've learned that as long as you're giving 110% and the best you can at that moment in time with the resources you have available, that's success. I meant to add that last week, but here we are.
No, I love it. And the action item. So obviously I have a goal of getting this goal book done. And I hope to have it out as an ebook for you next week, because it goes into what I'm going to give you as an action item, and Morgan can give you a different one. But I'm curious if you can map out one of your goals this year of what that is and break it down like I did in the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And really think about those, because I just came up with this and, I said, oh, 2024, it's time bound. But really, I should want to, if I'm measuring my success through the happy faces, I need to see more happy faces in February than I did in January, in March. So to me, that's time bound, right? Every month I'd like to see that climb. And then if I start seeing a plateau, I need to be asking me why I'm seeing the plateau, because maybe I am plateauing at 90% and it's okay to have 10% bad days. You know what I mean?
But you have to find your groove.
Yeah. So
you got to start somewhere and find your baseline and then adjust accordingly.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where I think your action item is. Have you mapped out your goal? And stop calling it resolutions, everyone, and break it down. Because this next one, we're going to go through habits. We're going to go through intention and mindset in all these segments of how you can really make things achievable. I think that's the biggest thing is this really achievable? I didn't put a 50K on my 50th birthday on my bucket list, but
hey, you never know till you don't try.
Oh, I got 6 years to work towards it, Morgan.
Hey, that's plenty of time. I never thought I was going to run a 50. I mean, part of me thought I could. Part of me was like, you're crazy. But it's the tiny steps that you take to get to your end goal.
And so
I didn't wake up one day and decide to swim 2.5 miles, bike 112 miles, and then run 26.2 miles. No, I trained for 12 to 9 months to get there.
Exactly. So I think this is a good point to end the goals. We followed our outline. We did a little bit of weaving, but not as bad as we did.
Nope, we're getting better. We're getting better.
So everyone, have a blessed week. I hope you enjoyed having your Monday morning coffee with us, or whatever day you're listening to us. And we will see you next week.